The stars gleamed like scattered diamonds against the endless void as the massive Xerelian warship hovered above Earth First Colony. On Proxima B, the human settlement looked tiny and fragile compared to the alien vessel that cast long shadows. Across the settlement buildings, Commander Samantha Wilson stood at attention, her uniform crisp despite the sweat beading on her forehead. The delegation from the Xerelian Empire had arrived without warning, their message simple and direct. They sought an alliance with humans against the encroaching Vorax horde. The alien delegation descended from their ship in a beam of shimmering purple light, their forms gradually solidifying, revealing tall, elegant figures with iridescent skin that shifted colors with each movement. Their eyes, large and completely black, seemed to absorb light rather than reflect it. The lead Xerelian stepped forward, her head adorned with crystalline structures that formed a natural crown. Her name was Kylara Supreme, Empress of the 12 Systems. The translator device at her throat hummed softly as she spoke. Humans of Earth First Colony, we come seeking alliance. Our scouts report the Vorax fleet approaches this sector. They consume all in their path. Samantha maintained her composure despite the shocking news. The Vorax were thought to be just stories, tales to frighten children in the outer colonies, yet here stood the ruler of the most advanced civilization in the known galaxy, warning of their arrival. Need your help? Said Kylara, her voice melodic even through the translator. Why us? Asked Samantha. Our technology is centuries behind yours. Our weapons would be useless against a threat that concerns even the Xerelian Empire. Kylara tilted her head, her skin shifting to a deep blue. Your species possesses something unique in the galaxy, something we lack despite all our advancements. You adapt. You improvise when faced with impossible odds. You fight even when victory seems unattainable. This quality is unknown among the elder races of the stars. The alien empress gestured toward her entourage. A group of Xerelian females stepped forward, each adorned with different symbols of rank and status. They studied the humans with undisguised curiosity. Our scientists believe the human capacity for what you call creativity is the key to defeating the Vorax. Their hive mind can predict logical responses, but your species thinks in patterns they cannot anticipate. Samantha considered the implications. This was why Earth had been contacted, not for their military strength but for their unpredictability, their chaotic thinking patterns. What exactly do you propose? Asked. Samantha. Kylara gestured and a holographic display appeared between them showing tactical information. The Xerelian Empress explained their plan. They needed human commanders embedded with their forces to guide their ships and warriors with that unpredictable human intuition. For this to work, the neural link must be strong, said Kylara. Each of my royal guard will bond with a human commander. The connection must be deep, the trust absolute. Samantha gathered her officers to discuss the proposal. Most were skeptical, some were terrified, but humanity faced extinction. If the Vorax could not be stopped, the choice seemed clear. Very well said, Samantha. We accept this alliance. The next day, candidates from the colony were brought to the Xerelian ship for testing. Lieutenant Amy Brooks stood nervously in line with the other volunteers. She was tall for a human with short brown hair and green eyes that darted around, taking in every detail of the alien vessel. The testing chamber was filled with strange equipment. Crystal pillars surrounded a central platform, where humans were asked to stand one by one. Most emerged shaking their heads. Some came out trembling. Others simply looked confused. When Amy entered the chamber, she felt a strange vibration in the air. Her skin tingled as she stepped onto the platform. Xerelian scientists observed from behind transparent barriers, their skin shifting through analytical patterns of blue and green. The test began with a gentle hum. A crystal above Amy began to glow, pulses of light matching her heartbeat. Then came the questions flashing directly into her mind. How would you escape a sealed room with only a plastic cup? Amy visualized breaking the cup, creating a sharp edge, using it to pry open a panel. She imagined multiple solutions, each more creative than the last. The crystal pulsed faster. You face an enemy with superior weapons and numbers. How do you win? Amy thought of guerrilla tactics, psychological warfare, creating diversions. She imagined using the environment, turning the enemy's strength into a weakness. The crystal now glowed brilliantly. The Xerelian scientists moved closer, their skin rippling with excitement. One stepped forward, placing a hand near, but not touching Amy. Her mind filled with alien thoughts, images and concepts beyond human understanding. Yet somehow Amy processed them, finding patterns, making connections where there seemed to be none. Extraordinary, whispered the scientist. Your mind adapts quickly. You create order from chaos, yet introduce chaos to order. You are exactly what we need. Amy was escorted to a different chamber where other successful candidates waited. There were only 12 humans who had passed the tests out of hundreds who had tried. The Xerelians introduced themselves as the Royal Guard elite warriors, sworn to protect the royal family. Each would bond with a human partner, creating a neural link that would allow them to share thoughts and fight. As one, Amy was paired with Xiala, daughter of Empress Kylara, and heir to the Xerelian throne. The young princess had skin that shifted through softer colors than the adults. Her crystal crown was smaller but no less impressive. Xiala approached Amy, her head tilted in curiosity. I have never linked with an alien mind before, she said. Are you afraid? Amy nodded yes, but also excited. This is why I joined Earth Defense Force, to explore, to learn, to protect. The princess smiled, an expression she must have learned from studying humans. Good. We begin tomorrow. Prepare yourself, human. The bonding is not pleasant, but the results will be worth the pain. That night Amy could barely sleep. Her mind raced with possibilities. What would it feel like to share consciousness with an alien? Would she lose herself in the process? Would she gain something greater? Before dawn, Amy was summoned back to the ship. The bonding chamber was different from the testing room. This one was lined with pulsing crystals that seemed almost alive. A central platform held 2 reclined seats facing each other. Xiala was already there, waiting, her skin a calm lavender shade. She gestured for Amy to take the seat opposite her. The process requires total openness, explained the princess. You must hide nothing. I will see all that you are, and you will see me. We will become something new, something neither Xerelian nor human, but stronger than both. Amy took a deep breath and sat down. Technicians attached crystal nodes to her temples and wrists. The nodes felt warm against her skin. Are you ready? Asked Xiala. As ready as I can be, replied Amy. The princess nodded and the chamber darkened. Only the crystals provided light, pulsing in rhythm with their heartbeats. Then the light intensified, and Amy felt her mind opening, expanding, connecting with something vast and alien. Amy gasped as her consciousness merged with Xiala. The princess was ancient despite her youthful appearance. Her memories stretched back centuries. Her knowledge encompassed sciences humans had not yet dreamed of, and Xiala experienced human emotions with their raw intensity, felt human creativity with its chaotic brilliance. Together they became something new, something powerful. The neural bonding lasted 3 hours, though to Amy it felt like both an instant and an eternity. When the connection finally eased, she slumped in her chair, exhausted but exhilarated. Xiala looked equally drained, her skin a pale blue that indicated fatigue. The technicians helped them both to their feet. Amy could still feel Xiala in her mind, a presence both alien and familiar. She could sense the princess was experiencing the same lingering connection. It worked better than expected, said one of the Xerelian scientists. Your minds are highly compatible. The neural pathways are strong. The next days were filled with training. Amy and Xiala learning to use their bond in combat simulations. Their thoughts flowed together, creating strategies that neither would have conceived alone. The princess provided the advanced knowledge of Xerelian technology, while Amy contributed human unpredictability and intuition. Other human Xerelian pairs trained alongside them, each developing their own unique fighting style. Some excelled at tactical planning, others at direct combat. All showed abilities that amazed the Xerelian military leaders. During a break in training, Amy found Xiala staring at a holographic display of the approaching Vorax fleet. The princess seemed troubled, her skin shifting through worried shades of gray. "What's wrong?" asked Amy. Though she could sense the emotions through their bond, sometimes it helped to speak aloud. Shiala gestured at the display. The Vorax grow stronger. With each system they consume, they adapt, taking the best traits of the species they destroy. They have consumed 17 civilizations before reaching this sector, each more advanced than the last. Amy studied the display, seeing the pattern of destruction. The Vorax moved like a plague of locusts, devouring everything in their path, leaving dead worlds behind. "How do they choose their targets?" asked Amy. The princess sighed. "They seek advancement. They believe evolution comes through consumption. By devouring advanced species, they incorporate their strengths. Their goal is perfection through assimilation, and they want humans." Shiala nodded. "For your adaptability, your creativity. Your species represents something unique in the galaxy. The Vorax desire these traits above all others." Amy felt cold fear in her stomach but pushed it aside. Through their bond, she knew Shiala could sense her determination. "I won't let that happen. Our worlds will not fall." The princess smiled gratefully. "I believe you, human. That irrational confidence is why we need you." 2 weeks after the bonding ceremony, the first Vorax scouts entered the system. Small biomechanical ships that moved with insect-like precision. They seemed to be testing defenses, probing for weaknesses. The combined human-Zerelian fleet mobilized to meet them. 12 warships, each commanded by a bonded pair, their neural links allowing them to coordinate perfectly. Despite their different tactical approaches, Amy's first real combat experience came suddenly. The scout ships attacked without warning, their weapons cutting through the outer defenses of the fleet. Amy felt the fear rise in her throat, but Shiala steadied her through their bond. Together they guided their ship in an erratic pattern, avoiding the precision attacks of the Vorax. Unpredictable, suggested Amy through the link. Keep changing direction speed. Never establish a pattern. Shiala implemented the strategy, their ship dancing through space like a leaf in the wind, while the other Zerelian vessels followed similar unpredictable paths. The Vorax scouts seemed confused by the chaotic movements, their attacks missing more often than connecting. "Now strike back," ordered Shiala. The Zerelian weapons blazed, cutting through 2 scout ships. The remaining Vorax vessels retreated, jumping to hyperspace before they could be destroyed. "They will report back," said Shiala. "The main fleet will know our tactics, then we'll change them," replied Amy through their link. "That's our advantage. We adapt faster than they can." The victory, though small, boosted morale among the defenders, but everyone knew it was merely the beginning. The main Vorax fleet would arrive soon. That evening, Amy found Shiala in the observation deck staring out at the stars. The princess seemed lost in thought, her skin a contemplative blue. "What are you thinking about?" asked Amy, joining her at the viewport. Shiala turned, her large eyes reflecting the starlight. "My people have existed for 50,000 of your years. We built wonders, explored the galaxy, developed technologies your scientists cannot comprehend. Yet in all that time, we never faced an enemy like the Vorax. We became complacent, believing our advancement made us invulnerable." Amy understood the feeling humanity had experienced similar shocks when they first ventured beyond Earth, discovering they were far from the most advanced species in the galaxy. "Sometimes advancement becomes a weakness," said Amy. "You stop looking for new solutions when the old ones have always worked." The princess nodded, her skin shifting to a curious purple. "You humans are young as a spacefaring species, barely 500 years since your first colony ships. Yet you adapt so quickly. You see possibilities where we see only established patterns." They stood in comfortable silence, watching the stars, both aware of the approaching danger but finding momentary peace in the vastness of space. The main Vorax fleet arrived 3 days later, a massive hive ship surrounded by countless smaller vessels. The combined fleet seemed to darken the space around it, blocking out the stars themselves. Amy gasped at the sight, even through the tactical display. The Vorax ships moved in perfect unison, like cells in a single organism, shifting and adapting. their formation as they approached. The Zerelian fleet formed a defensive perimeter around the colony. Amy and Ziala aboard the command ship at the center of the formation. Empress Kylara addressed all ships. Her voice firm, despite the overwhelming odds. Remember your training, she said. The Vorax expect logic. They expect patterns. We will give them chaos. The battle began with a surge of Vorax attack ships swarming toward the defenders. The Zerelian vessels held formation, firing precisely at the oncoming enemy. But the Vorax adapted quickly, changing their approach to counter the defense. They predict our moves too easily, said Ziala. Her frustration bleeding through the neural link. Amy had an idea. Break formation, she suggested through the link. Tell each ship to act independently. No coordination. No pattern. Pure chaos. The princess hesitated. For millennia, Zerelian battle doctrine emphasized perfect coordination. Precise movements. Trust me, urged. Amy Ziala gave the command. The Zerelian fleet scattered each ship following the intuition of their human partner. Some charged directly at the enemy. Others performed impossible maneuvers, diving between Vorax ships, firing at point-blank range. Still others retreated only to circle back, attacking from unexpected angles. The Vorax hesitated, their perfect formation momentarily disrupted by the chaotic assault. Their hive mind struggled to predict movements that followed. No logical pattern. It's working, shouted Amy, the neural link amplifying her excitement. Ziala guided their ship through the heart of the Vorax formation, targeting critical systems with precise fire. Amy suggesting unconventional attack vectors that the enemy could not anticipate. For a moment, victory seemed possible. Then, the Vorax adapted again, their ships splitting into smaller units mirroring the chaotic movements of the defenders. The hive ship at the center of their formation began to pulse with energy. Danger, warned Ziala. Wave of energy erupted from the hive ship, washing over the battlefield. Amy screamed as the neural link between her and Ziala suddenly severed. The pain was excruciating, like part of her mind had been torn away. She could see other humans throughout the command ship, similarly affected. A neural disruptor, said Ziala, her voice strained. They specifically targeted our advantage. Without the neural links, the Zerelian ships reverted to their traditional tactics. Logical, predictable. The Vorax began to press their advantage, surrounding vessels, cutting them off from the fleet. The command ship took a direct hit. Alarms blared as systems failed. Ziala struggled to maintain control, but without Amy guiding her actions, the princess fell back on trained responses. Amy fought through the pain of the severed link. We need a new approach, she gasped. The neural technology is down, but we can still communicate. We can still fight. Ziala looked at her with newfound respect. What do you suggest? Human Amy pointed to the communications array. Link me to all ships' manual coordination. Our unpredictability is not in the technology, it's in us, it's who we are. The princess hesitated, uncertain this primitive method would work. But the Vorax were closing in, their ships surrounding the command vessel. Trust me, said Amy, chaos is our only chance. Ziala nodded, and Amy was given access to the fleet communications. The human commanders on other ships reported similar situations, their neural links severed, but their resolve intact. Listen carefully, instructed Amy. We need to coordinate without being predictable. Each ship will follow my countdown, then execute a random maneuver of your choosing. The only rule is surprise the Vorax with something they would never expect. The plan was desperate, but the alternative was defeat. Amy counted down, and on her mark, the remaining Zerelian vessels burst into action. Some charged directly at the enemy. Others performed barrel rolls, rapid direction changes, or sudden stops. The Vorax formation faltered momentarily, confused by the seemingly random actions. Now target their lead ships, ordered Amy. Strike while they recalculate. Energy weapons blazed across space. Several Vorax vessels exploded their destruction, creating gaps in the enemy formation. The tide of battle shifted again, the combined fleet rallying around the damaged command ship. Amy studied the tactical display, noticing something unusual in the Vorax movements. When the fleet concentrated fire on one area, the Vorax hive ship shifted protective vessels to defend it, almost like a reflex. She pointed this out to Ciala. The hive ship protects itself instinctively. If we could fake an attack in one area, then strike another. The princess understood immediately. We create a diversion. Amy nodded, her mind racing with possibilities. Send half our ships to attack their upper quadrant. Make it look like our main assault. Then while their defenses shift, the remaining ships target this section here. She indicated a spot on the lower hull of the hive ship. Their blind spot, Ciala transmitted the orders. The Zarelian fleet split as directed. One group launched an aggressive attack, drawing Vorax defenders away from the hive ship. The second group circled around, approaching from below where the hive ship defenses were thinnest. The Vorax fell for the deception, moving ships to counter the obvious threat, leaving their vulnerable area exposed. The second Zarelian group struck with everything they had, their energy weapons combining into a spear of light that pierced the hive ship hull. For a moment, nothing happened. Then the massive vessel began to fracture, energy pouring from the wound in its side. The destruction spread, chain reactions tearing through the hive ship. Without their central intelligence, the smaller Vorax ships became disorganized, easy targets for the Zarelian weapons. Across the command ship screens displayed the extraordinary scene, the hive ship breaking apart, explosions cascading along its length, the swarm of smaller vessels scattering, some fleeing, others simply drifting powerless. "We won," whispered Amy, hardly believing it. Ciala placed a hand on her shoulder, her skin glowing with a victorious gold. "You won, human, your strategy, your unpredictability. This victory belongs to your species." The celebration was tempered by their losses. 5 Zarelian warships destroyed, hundreds of crew members lost. But compared to the extinction they had faced, these casualties were acceptable as the fleet returned to the colony. Empress Kylara summoned Amy and the other human commanders to the great hall of her ship. The neural link technology was being repaired, but the Empress had seen enough to make a decision. The Zarelian Empire needs human unpredictability, not just for this battle, but for all future challenges. She announced, "We propose a permanent alliance, a sharing of knowledge and resources. Human commanders will join our fleets. Human scientists will work alongside our researchers. Together, we will be stronger than either species alone." The Empress moved along the line of human officers, studying each face carefully. When she reached Amy, she stopped. Her skin shifted to a warm shade of respect. "You especially have proven the value of your species," the Empress declared. "The human capacity for improvisation saved us all when our technology failed. My daughter speaks highly of you," Amy bowed, slightly embarrassed by the attention. "I only did what anyone would have done." "Your Majesty." The Empress made a sound like gentle laughter. "No, Lieutenant Brooks. What you did was uniquely human. That is why we need your kind." After the ceremony, Amy found Ciala waiting in a quiet corner of the ship. The princess approached, her skin shifting through colors of curiosity and something else, something Amy could not quite identify. "I wish to ask you something important," said the princess, her voice unusually hesitant. Amy nodded, feeling strangely nervous. "Of course, Your Highness." Ciala took a step closer. "I am returning to the homeworld to report our victory and begin preparations for the greater war against the Vorax. I would ask that you accompany me." Amy was surprised by the request. "Me specifically?" "Why?" The princess' skin rippled with emotion. "Our minds connected well during the neural link. Better than any other pairing. I believe we could accomplish much together." And she hesitated. "I find your species fascinating. I wish to learn more." Amy considered the offer. It would mean leaving Earth First Colony, traveling to a world no human had ever seen. The opportunity was incredible, but also frightening. "I would be honored, Your Highness." "She finally," replied. Ciala seemed pleased, her skin glowing softly. "I will make arrangements. We leave in 3 days." The following days were a blur of preparation. Amy was given injections to help her adapt to the slightly different atmosphere of the Zarelian homeworld. She was briefed on their customs, their social structures, their taboos. She packed her few belongings and said goodbye to her fellow officers. Commander Samantha pulled her aside before departure. "This is a historic opportunity, Lieutenant. You will be the first human to visit the Zarelian homeworld. Your reports will be invaluable. Amy nodded, understanding the responsibility, but I thought this was primarily a military alliance. Samantha smiled. It began that way. But the Zerelians are interested in more than our fighting skills. They want to understand us. Our culture, our creativity, our emotions. This could be the beginning of something greater than either of us imagined. The day of departure arrived. Amy stood in the shuttle bay, watching Zerelian crew members loading the last supplies onto the royal vessel. The ship was smaller than the warships, but no less impressive. Its hull shifting colors in patterns that seemed almost alive. Shiala found her there. The princess was dressed in formal attire, her crystalline crown more elaborate than usual, her skin a serene blue that indicated calm focus. "Are you ready, human?" she asked. "As ready as I can be," replied Amy. "Are you sure your people will accept me?" "Not everyone might. Be happy about humans coming to your world." The princess made a gesture Amy had come to recognize as dismissal. "My people will follow my lead. Those who resist will adapt. It is the Zerelian way. We may be slow to change, but once decided, we commit." Fully, they boarded the ship together. Amy given quarters near the royal chambers. The accommodations were adapted for human physiology, with appropriate gravity, temperature, and lighting. The journey would take 12 days, during which Amy would continue learning about Zerelian culture as the ship broke orbit. Amy watched through a viewport as Earth's first colony grew smaller, eventually becoming just another light among the stars. She felt a momentary pang of homesickness, but it was overshadowed by excitement. This was why she had joined Earth Defense Force to explore, to forge new paths to represent humanity among the stars. Shiala joined her at the viewport, the princess skin shifting to match the starfield outside, a sign of contemplation. "Your world looks fragile from here," she observed. "Yet your species has survived disease, war, natural disasters. Your resilience is remarkable." Amy smiled. "We have a saying, what doesn't kill us makes us stronger." The princess considered this. Her head tilted in that characteristic gesture. "Fascinating. That explains much about your approach to challenges. You see difficulty as opportunity." They stood together watching the stars, each contemplating the strange turns of fate that had brought them together. A human and an alien princess united by the threat of extinction, finding common ground despite their differences in that moment. Amy knew her life had changed forever. She was part of something greater now, a bridge between species, a pioneer on an uncharted path. Whatever challenges lay ahead, she would face them with the unique human gifts of adaptation, courage, and hope. The journey to the Zerelian homeworld took 12 days, Earth time. Amy spent the time learning the language and customs of her hosts. Though the translator devices worked well, she wanted to make an effort to understand their culture directly. Shiala proved to be an excellent teacher, patient and curious about human perspectives in return. The princess asked endless questions about Earth, its history, art, music, and social structures. She seemed particularly fascinated by human emotions. "You feel so strongly," said Shiala during one of their sessions. "Your grief, your joy, your anger, all burn so bright compared to our measured responses. It must be exhausting." Amy laughed. "I suppose it can be, but would you want to feel any less?" The princess considered this, her skin shifting through thoughtful patterns of blue and purple. "Perhaps not. Your intensity gives your species a certain vibrancy. We lack on the 10th day of their journey." Shiala brought Amy to the observatory deck. The curved ceiling was transparent, showing the vast sweep of stars. But today something else dominated the view. A massive structure floating in space, its graceful spires and sweeping arches glowing with internal light. "What is that?" asked Amy, awed by the scale of the construction. "The gateway to Zerel," explained Shiala. "The first defense of our home system. All visitors must pass through its security protocols." As they approached, Amy could see smaller ships docked at various points along the structure. Patrol vessels circled in precise patterns. Guards in crystalline armor stood at attention near airlocks. Our ship will be scanned, then cleared for passage, continued the princess. The gateway has stood for 10,000 years. Never has an enemy passed without permission. The royal vessel, slowed as it approached the gateway. Security ships moved alongside, escorting them to a docking port. Ciala led Amy to a formal reception area where they would meet the gateway commander. The commander was tall, even for a Zerelian, her skin a deep purple that indicated age and status. The crystalline formations on her head were elaborate, showing her high rank. She looked at Amy with undisguised curiosity. "So this is the human who helped defeat the Vorax," she said, her translator making the words sound almost musical. "I expected someone more impressive." Amy maintained her composure despite the slight. "The Vorax underestimated us too." "Commander, that was their mistake." The commander made a sound that might have been laughter. "Very well, human. You have courage at least. The Empress has granted you clearance to enter our system. Welcome to Zerel." After passing through the gateway, the ship continued inward toward the heart of the system. They passed massive orbital shipyards where Zerelian vessels were under construction. Defensive platforms bristling with weapons, space habitats like small cities floating among the stars. "All this, and the Vorax still frightened you?" mused Amy. Ciala nodded, her skin darkening. "The Vorax are unlike any enemy we have faced. They adapt, they evolve, they learn. Our defenses may be impressive, but they were designed to fight conventional foes." The ship continued its journey, passing the outer planets of the system, each ringed with satellites, defense systems, and research stations. The Zerelians were nothing if not thorough. Finally, they approached Zerel itself, the homeworld of the Empire, a blue-green jewel hanging in space. 3 moons orbited the planet, each hosting their own cities and installations. Protective energy shields shimmered faintly around the entire planet. "It's beautiful," whispered Amy. Ciala seemed pleased by her reaction. "Wait until you see the surface." The royal vessel descended through the upper atmosphere, following a designated flight path toward the capital city. As they broke through the cloud layer, Amy gasped at the view below. The city stretched to the horizon. Crystal towers rose thousands of feet into the air, connected by delicate bridges that looked too fragile to stand, yet clearly supported traffic, and people. Parks and gardens were interspersed among the buildings, creating a harmonious blend of architecture and nature. Energy fields shimmered between some structures, their purpose unknown to Amy. The ship docked at a platform extending from the tallest central tower. "The royal palace," Ciala explained, "the seat of government for 12,000 years. My Homa delegation waited on the landing platform. Officials in formal attire, guards in ceremonial armor, a group of what appeared to be scientists, their skin shifting through analytical patterns of blue and green. Amy was the first human to set foot on this world, and they were clearly eager to study her." Ciala sensed her nervousness. "Stay close to me," she said. "They will not harm you, but their curiosity can be overwhelming." Amy stepped onto the platform, feeling the slightly stronger gravity pulling at her. The air, though filtered for her comfort, smelled different. Floral notes and something like cinnamon mixed with an underlying mineral scent. The officials bowed to Ciala, then turned their attention to Amy. A tall Zerelian with elaborate crystal patterns stepped forward. "Welcome to Zerel. Lieutenant Brooks," he said. "I am High Counselor Verain. We have prepared accommodations for you in the east wing of the palace. The Empress has decreed you be treated as an honored guest." Amy bowed in the Zerelian style that Ciala had taught her. "Thank you for your welcome, High Counselor. I am honored to be here." The formal reception lasted an hour, various officials making speeches welcoming her and commemorating the victory against the Vorax. Amy stood patiently through it all, aware of her historic role as the first human ambassador to this world. Finally, Ciala led her through the palace toward her quarters. The halls were vast, with ceilings that soared hundreds of feet overhead. Artwork adorned the walls, some paintings recognizable to human eyes, others strange sculptures that seemed to move when viewed from different angles. "Your room connects to mine through this doorway," explained Ciala, pointing to a crystal arch. If you need anything, simply press this panel, and I will come. The quarters were luxurious by any standard. The main room was circular with a domed ceiling that could become transparent, showing the sky above. The furniture, though alien in design, had been modified for human comfort. The environmental controls adjusted to Earth standard temperature and humidity. "This is amazing," said Amy, turning in a slow circle to take it all in. Ciala seemed pleased. "I wanted you to feel comfortable here. You will be my guest for some time." After settling in, Amy was invited to dine with the royal family. The dining hall was intimidating. In its grandeur, the table alone could seat 100 people, though tonight only a dozen places were set. Empress Kylara sat at the head with Ciala to her right. Amy was placed beside the princess. The food was surprising, much of it engineered to be compatible with human biology. Some dishes even attempted to replicate Earth flavors. The chefs had clearly researched human cuisine. During the meal, Empress Kylara addressed Amy directly. "Lieutenant, your victory against the Vorax has bought us time but not peace. Their main fleet still approaches. Their homeworld still produces ships and warriors. We must prepare for a greater conflict." Amy nodded, understanding the gravity of the situation. "What would you have me do?" "Your Majesty." The Empress gestured, and a holographic display appeared above the table, showing military installations, research facilities, training grounds. "You will work with our strategists to develop new tactics," she said. "Your human perspective has proven valuable. You will also assist our scientists in understanding the neural link technology. The disruption the Vorax used must be countered." Amy felt the weight of responsibility settling on her shoulders. "I will do everything I can." "Your Majesty." The Empress studied her. For a moment, then her skin shifted to a color Amy had not seen before, a deep gold with flecks of silver. "I believe you will, human. You have shown remarkable adaptability thus far. My daughter chose well in bringing you here." After dinner, Ciala took Amy to a balcony overlooking the city. The view was breathtaking. Crystal towers glowed with internal light. Vehicles moved along invisible pathways between buildings. The 3 moons hung in the sky, each a different color, casting multiple shadows across the landscape. "So what happens now?" asked Amy. Ciala turned to her, skin shifting to a serious blue. "Tomorrow you begin work with our military command. They are eager to learn your human tactics. Later you will meet with the scientists studying the neural link technology. But tonight," she paused, her skin warming to purple, "tonight we celebrate your arrival." The princess clapped her hands, and the balcony was suddenly illuminated. Music began to play, unlike any Amy had heard before, complex harmonies that seemed to shift and evolve. Servants appeared with drinks in crystal glasses. "A welcome ceremony," explained Ciala, "traditionally given for honored guests." Amy took the offered drink, finding it sweet with a slight effervescence. "To new beginnings," she said, raising her glass. The princess mimicked the gesture. "To new beginnings, and to the strange twist of fate that brought our species together." As they drank, Amy looked out over the alien city, feeling a strange mixture of homesickness and excitement. She was farther from Earth than any human had ever been, yet somehow she felt she was exactly where she needed to be. The celebration continued late into the night. Various officials and nobles coming to meet the human hero who had helped defeat the Vorax. Amy told the story again and again, each time emphasizing the cooperation between their species rather than taking credit herself. As the gathering finally wound down, Ciala escorted Amy back to her quarters. The princess lingered at the doorway, her skin shifting through colors that indicated something Amy could not quite read. The weeks that followed were among the most intense of Amy's life. Each morning began with tactical meetings, Xerelian commanders listening with growing respect as she explained human military concepts, guerrilla warfare, psychological operations, the importance of morale. These ideas were new to a species that had relied on technological superiority for millennia. The afternoons were spent with scientists studying the neural link technology. The Vorax disruptor had revealed vulnerabilities. They were determined to fix. Amy subjected herself to countless tests, Her brain mapped and analyzed as they sought to understand why humans formed such strong connections with Zarelian minds. In the evening she dined with Shiala, often joined by other officials or researchers. The princess proved to be her strongest advocate, smoothing over cultural misunderstandings, defending human unpredictability when others found it disturbing. One evening, 3 weeks after her arrival, Amy found Ziala waiting in her quarters. The princess' skin was an agitated orange, a color Amy had learned indicated concern. "What's wrong?" asked Amy immediately. Alert Shiala activated a holographic display. "Our long-range scouts have detected the main Vorax fleet. They move faster than we anticipated. They will reach Zarelian space within 2 months." Amy studied the display showing the massive enemy fleet. Their numbers were staggering. Thousands of ships surrounding a new hive ship, even larger than the one they had destroyed. "They rebuilt so quickly," she whispered. The princess nodded, her skin darkening. "They consume resources from every world they pass, stripping planets to fuel their growth. We must accelerate our preparations." The next day, Amy was brought to a secure facility deep beneath the royal palace. Empress Kylara herself led her through security checkpoints to a vast chamber filled with advanced technology. At the center stood something covered by an energy field. The Empress deactivated the Mies field, revealing a sleek vessel unlike any Amy had seen before. Its hull seemed to ripple with colors changing like Zarelian skin. "This is the Nexus," explained the Empress, "our most advanced warship incorporating technology even the Vorax have not seen. It can adapt its systems mid-flight, changing weapons shields propulsion to counter any threat." Amy walked around the ship admiring its lines. Its design was beautiful, almost organic, yet clearly built for war. "And this will turn the tide?" asked Amy. The Empress made a gesture of uncertainty. "Perhaps, but its true potential lies in its neural interface. The ship itself can form a bond with its crew, becoming an extension of their will. But the interface requires minds of exceptional flexibility." Amy understood immediately. "You want me to link with it?" The Empress' skin shifted to an approving blue. "You grasp quickly, human." "Yes. The Nexus was designed for Zarelian minds, but our tests show it would form a stronger bond with a human in the command circuit. My daughter has volunteered to join you. Her mind is young, flexible by our standards. Together you might unlock the ship's full potential." It was a staggering request. To merge not just with Yala, but with an entire warship, to become part of something beyond human experience. "When would we begin?" asked Amy. The Empress seemed pleased by her response. "Tomorrow. The bonding process is complex, the training after more so. But time grows short." That evening, Amy sat on her balcony, watching the 3 moons rise. The beauty of this alien world still took her breath away despite the looming threat. She heard the door open behind her and knew without looking that it was Yala. "You accepted my mother's proposal," said the princess, joining her at the railing. Amy nodded. "It was never really a question. If this can help defeat the Vorax, protect both our worlds, of course." "I accept." Yala's skin shifted to a warm purple. "You should know the risks. The neural load will be intense, far greater than our previous link. Some of our scientists feared it might damage a human mind." Amy appreciated the honesty. "But you disagreed." The princess made a sound like gentle laughter. "I told them they underestimate humans. You are stronger than they know. More adaptable. That's why I chose you." Amy turned to face her. "Why did you choose me specifically?" "There were other candidates, other officers." Shiala was silent for a moment, her skin cycling through thoughtful colors. "From the moment our minds touched, I sensed something in you. A harmony with my own thoughts. A complementary pattern. It is difficult to explain in your language, but I knew we would work well together." The next morning they began. The bonding chamber inside the Nexus was different from the previous neural link facility. More advanced, more intimidating. Crystal nodes connected to a central chair designed to accommodate either human or Zarelian physiology. The scientists explained the process. Amy would link first with Ciala, then both would connect with the ship itself. The bond would be deeper, more complete than anything attempted before. "Are you ready?" asked Ciala, as they prepared. "As ready as I can be," replied Amy, feeling her heart race with a mixture of fear and excitement. The process began, with a familiar sensation, Amy's mind opening, connecting with Ciala's. The princess memories, thoughts, emotions becoming accessible. But this time the connection went deeper, past conscious thought into instinct, intuition, the very foundations of personality. Then came something new, the ship itself joining their shared consciousness. The Nexus was not truly alive, not sentient, but it had been designed to respond to thought, to become an extension of its crew. Amy felt its systems unfolding in her mind. Weapons, navigation shields, all becoming as familiar as her own limbs. The initial bonding lasted 5 hours. When it ended, Amy was exhausted, but exhilarated. She could still feel the ship in her mind, a presence waiting for commands. The training that followed was intense, Amy and Ciala learning to control the Nexus through thought alone. The ship responded to their shared consciousness, sometimes anticipating commands before they were fully formed. The weapon systems particularly attuned to Amy's tactical thinking, the navigation responding to Ciala's knowledge of spaces. The weeks passed, news arrived of Vorax incursions at the edge of Xerelian space, the outer colonies reporting attacks, the defensive fleets engaging in skirmishes, the enemy testing strengths and weaknesses. The day finally came when the Nexus was declared ready for combat. The ship now housed a crew of 20 Xerelians handling specialized systems, but Amy and Ciala remained the core, the command circuit, their linked minds, directing the vessel's actions. Empress Kylara addressed them before departure, a formal ceremony in the great hall of the palace. "You carry the hopes of 2 worlds," she said, her voice echoing in the vast chamber. "The Nexus represents our finest technology, but its true power lies in the union of our species, the blending of Xerelian logic with human creativity." Amy stood tall in her new uniform, a combination of Earth Defense Force and Xerelian Royal Guard designs. Ciala beside her, their shoulders nearly touching. "We will not fail, Your Majesty," said Amy, her voice firm despite her nervousness. The Empress approached, placing her hands on both their shoulders. "May the stars guide your path and bring you home victorious." The Nexus launched that evening. Rising from its underground hangar into the twilight sky, a crowd gathered to watch its departure. The first of its kind, a symbol of the new alliance between humans and Xerelians, in orbit. They rendezvoused with the defense fleet, 50 warships, gathered from across the Empire, all commanded by neural-linked pairs of humans and Xerelians. The tactics Amy had developed now implemented across the fleet. The bond between species growing stronger through shared purpose. The Nexus took the lead, position Amy and Ciala guiding it with practiced precision. Their minds so completely merged that it became difficult to tell where one ended and the other began. The ship responding to their thoughts, like an extension of their shared will. They traveled to the edge of Xerelian space where the Vorax had been sighted last, a binary star system with a single habitable world. The colony there already evacuated in anticipation of attack. "We wait," said Ciala through their link. "I agreed," feeling. The ship's systems ready for combat. The weapons charged. The shields at maximum, the crew alert at their stations. 3 days passed in tense anticipation. Then the sensors detected something. Distortions in space. Multiple hyperspace windows opening. The Vorax had arrived. The hive ship emerged first, massive, terrifying, its organic mechanical design bristling with weapons. Surrounding it, thousands of smaller vessels moved in perfect formation, the swarm advancing with singular purpose. Amy felt fear rise in her throat but pushed it aside. Through the neural link she sensed Ciala's calm confidence. The princess, absolute faith, in their preparations. The Xerelian fleet formed up behind the Nexus. Amy transmitted the battle plan they had rehearsed. Dozens of times, irregular formations, unpredictable movements, coordinated chaos designed to confuse the hive mind. The Vorax attacked without warning or communication, energy beams lancing out from multiple ships simultaneously. The Zarelian vessels, scattered following Amy's strategy avoiding the precision strikes. The Nexus moved differently from the other ships, its adaptive hull-shifting configuration to counter Vorax weapons, its speed and maneuverability seemingly impossible for a vessel. Its size, Amy and Ciala guided it through the enemy formation, striking critical systems before darting away. The battle spread across the system. Ships engaged in countless smaller conflicts, the void lit by weapons fire and explosions, the neural, linked commanders implementing Amy's tactics with growing success, the Vorax adapting but always a step behind.